Hi, Cheryl. How are you?
Good, Gabriel. I'm really excited to meet you. And, it's interesting. You were introduced yourself on Instant Messenger. And then I was talking to Shelly today, and she goes, "Oh, I have this guy you need to meet." And it just so happens
Here we go.
that
Yeah.
Shelly and I are connected that way because I was talking to her about a couple of people today, and they called when I was. So it was very bizarre.
Magnetism, hypnosis. So you were,
So
so tell me more about David Elman and the music.
yeah, so Dave Elman and his music connection. Since you're in music, I wanted to share that with you. So when he was growing up in Fargo, North Dakota, I think there were 9 of them, 8 of them, and all of the children learned instruments, possibly 2 or 3. I think one of his brothers became a professional musician. He went into vaudeville. So they used to have the Elman Orchestra. So they would get together and play, you know.
Wow, already.
And I mean, they didn't play necessarily in public, but they would play, like we watch TV together or we play games. This is what they did. Because you got to remember, Dave Elman was born in 1900. The covered wagons were still going through
Wow.
Fargo, North Dakota when he was born.
Yes. Oh my God.
So,
And so he has a special relation between music.
oh, wait, there's more. And there's more. Special relation.
Hmm.
Yes, he does have a special relation. I didn't mean to cut you off. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
No, the reason why, so we have like a common friend, Shelly. Shelly is like is more than a family for me in LA. And what she really appreciate about what I'm doing is I'm mixing hypnosis with the sound.
Ah, yes.
So it's already hypnotic. And
Yes. And
with the
have,
sound, I mix uh, different techniques. But I'm a big fan of David Elman, and I am like one of the few people in France using this induction because it's a rapid induction. It's very easy, and we gain time, And once people are in a deep trance, so it's easier for us to work on different, trauma or. Um, yeah, I'm a Civil War survivor, so I used hypnosis for myself, by myself, and it changed my life completely. So, um, and the music also is an amazing element. Merged with the hypnosis, it bringing the hypnosis to another level because they are very, for me, complementary. Yeah,
so you got to, we were talking, well, I want to go back to the Elman music connection because we're not done.
sure.
He was involved, and then we'll come back to that music connection too. Um, Dave Elman went to vaudeville. You know what vaudeville was?
Yeah, sure.
So he was in a vaudeville troupe. So he played saxophone, violin, told jokes as a comic, and did hypnosis.
Yeah.
Okay. And when he got to New York City, because vaudeville started to die because the theaters, movies came out, and that's why vaudeville died. Because why would you get a troupe of all these people and have to feed them and put them up in hotels and have all that when you just got a thing of for the movies and you had one kid running the projector, you know and they're they already had the theaters, so this is what they started doing. Dave Elman, when he got to New York City, he started working for um, WC Handy. Are you familiar with him?
No.
He was actually a black musician and publisher of music
Mm-hmm.
back then, and he was in blues and jazz, and Dave Elman wrote music for him, you know, and usually it just got gobbled up by, going under the flag WC Handy, you
Mm.
know. But when he did it, there were a few pieces he actually gave him the you see his name on the music too.
Wow.
So he did that.
Music is
And
magical,
he
and
was
music is very
also,
hypnotic. Sorry, yeah.
yeah, no, 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 go ahead.
Yeah, music is very
Uh,
hypnotic actually. And if a hypnotist is using the music for the goodwill, um, it's just creating more magic.
it is.
Yeah.
And then also, after he really wanted to get into radio.
Mm.
And so he kept taking jobs as producers, as any jobs he could get in radio. And finally, uh, he started in 1938. Maybe it was the end of 37, 38. He ended up launching a radio show called Hobby Lobby. Are you familiar with that?
No, but it's a funny name.
Hobby Lobby. Well, here was the concept. He was he actually had people lobby for their hobbies. In other words, write in and tell them their unusual hobbies, and then they would come and they would demonstrate it to the to the audience at the
Yeah.
studio, and it was going out nationally and to the audience all over the world.
Mm.
Not over the world, but
Right.
nationally. First in an area, and then it started to be national. And he did this till 1948. So he
Mm.
had this program, 10, 11 years
Mm.
on the radio every week. In fact, the president's wife, Eleanor Roosevelt, when she was in the White House, Dave had to go into the hospital a few times and she came and emceed the program for him. She was the
Amazing.
MC. So
Um,
they didn't have to miss the program that night.
I mean,
That cool.
he took the hypnosis to another level by broadcasting it and by also
Right.
doing shows. He
Yep.
was in the show business.
So when you think about it, if you're on the radio and you're the audience in the radio studio are watching what's going on, you know up on the screen. I'm not on the screen, but on the stage there where they're recording it, they're watching it, so you're getting a reaction from the radio audience. Now the people at home are not seeing it. It's not TV, it's only radio.
Right.
So you had to have Dave, who was very quickly describing what was going on up
Yes.
there. And
Yes.
so that they also were experiencing it almost simultaneously with the studio audience, and
Mm.
everybody's laughing at the same time or reacting at the same time. That was how all those hypnosis skills and suggestion and stuff and his pattern just gets so smooth because you're seeing it, you're describing it, and you're so that other people are experiencing it at the same time. That was pretty cool.
Yeah. And creating the imagery back to the time of radio when there's no image, and describing, the VACOG, like the visual, auditive, and kinesthetic. And it's also putting people into hypnosis in a way, because radio later on was like kind of describing what's going on
Exactly.
with the voice, and the voice is also part of the hypnosis, which is
Absolutely.
amazing. So can you tell me more about like your relation with David Elman, like Dave Elman, uh, like you discovered hypnosis before, or it was like a discovery after, or
I was hypnotized in the early 90s to stop smoking. And I smoked, no, it was maybe in the late 80s, early 90s. I don't remember. And I was a 2.5 to 3.5 pack a day smoker. You
wow,
know,
by
it would just
him?
burn. It would burn out. No, no. Dave Elman died in 1967. I
Okay,
never met him. I just married his son.
okay,
So that's how I got to be an Elman. And so I had been hypnotized to stop smoking, and I did. I was in New York City. I wish I could remember the hypnotist to give that credit to. I do not remember it, but I just know that whenever I tried to listen to his tape recording, I got hypnotized again. So, uh, so it was interesting. so 16 years later, I had Sean Michael Andrews came to interview Larry and my husband about his dad, and stuck my hand to the table, to my head, and I went, I want to do this. So, um, 16 years later, I became a hypnotist, and I've been doing it since. So,
And and I think I have Larry on a tape back to
you,
France. I mean, I have it somewhere. Yeah, and maybe I will add it on this podcast if you agree, and if I have your permission, just a little part.
sure,
Yeah.
sure. And maybe if you want, although this wasn't going to be the podcast, but this is it. I mean, we're just doing our thing here.
You're right.
Very impromptu, and it's funny because I'm a little camera shy. I have not yet pressed the button and done a Facebook Live by myself. I only do it with people,
You
but I
are
need to
doing
start doing it.
you are doing a great job, and you can also talk about what's coming, if you want.
Oh, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
We're very excited. The Dave Elman Legacy Global Zoom Pattern. That's a mouthful, isn't it? But I was trying to describe what it is, and that's what it is. It is a conference actually coming up this coming weekend, because now it's Sunday. So this coming weekend, it'll be June 11th, 12th, and 13th. There are 90 presenters
90% is all over the world.
from 20 something countries. A lot of them, most of them, who called me the other day and said, "You've got the who's who of hypnosis up there." But yet, as I look at the pictures, I think of all the people that are not there. So I was going to say, "Oh, we're going to do this once." I don't know if we'll do it again, but now
I
I'm
think so.
learning how to do this because there are more people that I would love to get involved. So it all came to initially the idea of, people always say to us that they were very influenced by Dave Elman's methods, like you did. You said, "Oh, I just love." So it influenced how you work, or even people that were influenced, and even if they went in a whole different area, they still were influenced at times, and it gave them the confidence with their hypnosis because the Dave Elman induction works fantastically,
It's
right?
fantastic, and I want to tell you how much I'm honored, and how much I have this gratitude to Shelley also, because I discovered the David Elmanian technique by myself, because I studied hypnosis with Dr. Richard Bandler and Paul McKenna in London, and then I open up my eyes, to this domain, like to this field, and I just love the Elmanian induction. We gain time as a practitioner. It's deeper. We can deepen the hypnosis in a very short time, and for me is because I'm from the show business also, and from the music, and from this stage also, I feel like very close to this technique, and I'm happy, as you mentioned, France and Lebanon with practitioners from there. So I feel like very honored to have you in this podcast, really.
Thank you. And we're going to be honored because I don't know, for the people watching this, you may not know, but from what I understand, I am sitting here with like a major music star from Lebanon. Is
Thank
that
you so much.
correct?
Thank you so much.
I was told that you're a big star there, and so we are. And when you had your singing bowl out, I wanted to tell you that you're gonna absolutely love. I think it's at 2 o'clock on Saturday. We'll have to check that schedule. My friend Betsy Lehman is doing a sound bath.
Okay.
She's got brass bowls, she's got crystal bowls, she's
Right.
got the ocean drum. I mean, it is a concert,
It
you know,
is. It is.
and you will absolutely love it.
Okay. Yeah, we are always here to, to discover on planet Earth what's going on, but also honoring, the ancestors and the masters also who left us left for us books, and and written scripts, like David Elman. So
And
yeah, tell me more.
if you think about it, it was one man wrote one book, and how many people have been influenced? He wrote it in 64, he died in 67, and how many people have been influenced by Elman since in the hypnosis world, in the NLP world? And
Yeah, and this book is amazing. I have it, and he's mentioning, like, he's teaching doctors about techniques, like the dentist, and in different. Um, he covered back to that time, like different feed, and this is just really a treasure, because back to that time, I mean, even today, when I mentioned the word like hypnosis or hypnotherapy, people looked at me like, "Oh," and I've been talking about hypnotherapy 15 years ago in the Middle East, in France, and you know that in France we are few people using the Elmanian. I mean, my friend Christophe Punk is using it, me too, and uh,
Dr. Bryce Lemaire has been teaching it in dental schools, and he is a
right,
dentist,
right.
has been using it for years.
And I think that's why the reason that I'm doing this podcast is also to expand and to share with more people these beautiful techniques, because it's not one technique, it's different techniques, it's a way of thinking, it's a way of doing. And he was great for me because he was like the showman. It's not only like doing hypnosis just to show how interested it is, but it's also making it in a nice way, funny way, and making it like it's not dangerous. It's a mindset. It's a way of thinking. And yeah, tell me more how you discovered all those techniques, and your passion about it.
My background, and also don't let me forget to tell you how I found out about Larry knowing hypnosis. I had no idea. So, uh, so I'll start with that. I was together with Larry, my husband, and we were together. We were dating. He was going to a nutritionist, and she wanted to see the person that he eats most of his meals with, which was me. We were dating, and so he took me there. And I guess the time before that, he had gone without me one of the times, and he was looking. She had an Omni from Jerry Kine, a diploma up on her wall, and and it wasn't. I don't even think it was called Omni at the time. He was living in Fort Lauderdale, or no longer there, but it had been down there. And so then she saw Larry looking at it, and she goes, Elman, Elman, Elman. And then she said, any relation? And he said, yes, I'm his son. So
Wow.
that was the connection. Now, I met Larry. He was teaching computers at a college. And before that, he had retired from the Air Force as an Air Force colonel, and is an aeronautical engineer, from MIT. So he had all these other careers I knew about, but I didn't know about the hypnosis. I knew a little about Hobby Lobby, about his dad having done that and what that was like. So it was sort of interesting that when the next time I was there, his nutritionist, had hurt her foot, and her foot was now healing, and she was doing competition before that in ballroom dancing, but she had this fear of getting back to it,
Mm.
and she asked him to hypnotize her. And so they asked me to go out in the lobby, and afterwards I said, you know how to hypnotize people? Now again, I had already been hypnotized, first in group, and then in Florida, and then in New York City by an individual to stop smoking, which worked. And so And I have a degree in special education, and I've been in sales, which in a way is hypnosis anyway. Uh, and then, and I had been, because everybody told me I could sell ice cream to Eskimos. And so I was really interested. And then when I met Sean Michael Andrews, it was years later. Yeah, about 8 years, 6 to 8 years later, is when I um, decided I really want to do this.
Yeah.
And so I started studying it, and then we started speaking. Larry was invited one place to speak, and then we went back the next year. And then Shelley called us. And from Shelley, I met somebody that wanted us to come to Australia. And that summer, Hans Rudy Whiff brought us to New Zealand. I mean, not to New Zealand, to Zurich in Switzerland. So it started growing. So now Larry and I, in the last 10 years, have taught in 17 countries,
Amazing.
um,
Amazing.
and some of them 2, 3, 4 times. And we were supposed to add 6 in 2020 when the pandemic hit. Well, in 2019 and 20.
I'm
When the
sure there's
pandemic.
more flags coming also.
If it would be interesting now to start one that would, what were the countries where we've taught people over Zoom, because we have been very busy teaching
Yeah.
people over Zoom, and we have trainers all over the world.
I mean, we are here to help also, and I will be happy to be part of the Elmanian family because from my heart, I really love this technique. And just to mention for people who are who will watch us, that Shelley Stockwell Nicholas is the creator or the founder of International Hypnosis Federation, and
IHF, yeah.
I connect with her like spontaneously through Gail Glasner.
I know Gail.
Yes, and Gail also is an amazing hypnotherapist. So you cannot force chemistry. Like when you connect with people, it's I mean personally I cannot fake it. It's like from soul to soul, heart to heart, or it's not. So and that's it. It's very easy. This is my relation with music also and with musicians.
I was a real hippie back in the late 60s, early 70s, and I remember I had to take my guitar with me, and my
There you
guitar went to
go.
school with me. I would skip a class and go and play and sing in the bathroom down below and play, and oh my God, the voice was so great in that little room.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And so what do you think about the voice during the hypnosis or the hypno session? Can you tell us more about it? Like,
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of people that create this monotone voice that is like this, and it drives me crazy. When
okay,
I listen to Dave Elman, you hear him speaking in his regular tones.
mm,
If you're talking about something exciting to the client, the changes they're seeing in themselves, and your voice is going to reflect that.
right.
So your voice becomes part of it is your instrument
Hmm,
in the process.
exactly.
Would you agree?
I totally agree. I'm basically I'm a composer. I'm a melodist. I'm good creating melodies, and I produced a lot of artists all over the world, and with hits. So a hit song is a nice melody, is a nice voice, and yeah, so people will hear it. So you mentioned him, broadcasting on radio, so they can see you through the microphone. So I really believe in the voice and how we use voice, and I teach. I train trainers with the hypnosis, and I tell them like the voice for me is 50% of the job, and the more you are authentic with your linguistic way of mentioning phrases. And this is the trick. It's very tricky here with your voice guiding them here and there and creating this hypnosis. It's not about like having this
Oh, oh.
monotone voice.
And I also have to say, once in a blue moon, I've come across somebody that has that real high pitched, squeaky voice.
Yeah,
And I gotta say that it's hard. I could not easily go into trance with that person, you
yeah,
know.
yeah.
So learning to, modulate your voice is so
Exactly. It's like a melody. So for me, it's like the waves of the ocean. So
yeah.
it can, take somebody in a dreamy state, just by not singing, but just playing with the linguistic. And as you mentioned, like it's for me, it's a dance.
Absolutely.
It's a dance. It's not like dancing in the session, and people will go. Poof. So we don't need like amazing. The more like simple it is, the more it's like music for me. So I'm very happy that you shared this part of Mr. Elman and the music.
It's a whole new perspective for you, right?
Oh my God, I love that because now I understand more the persona. This persona going on stage and feeling with ease and hypnotizing and laughing and sharing the state in a nice way.
So now he only, I think, once or twice did he use hypnosis in the shows because there was a lot of liability for the radio company and the sponsors because people are listening, you don't see where they are. Similar to, when you make a tape recording, do not listen to this in a moving vehicle
Right.
or while you're operating
Operating
machinery.
machinery,
You know,
right? Yeah.
and sometimes I was doing a podcast. We were teaching down in Brazil, and I know it was being recorded. Yesterday, we did a presentation at a conference that I've been co-sponsoring there for several years, and so we showed up and did a talk. And so I was doing some hypnosis with them and playing with the catalyst induction. And
Nice.
so I I I immediately said, so if you are driving or as you're listening to this, or if you're operating machinery, just start going blah, 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 until I'm done. So you didn't hear it. But but it's true. So, but your voice is such an instrument. It's wonderful.
Yes. And what do you think about confusion? The part of like kind of, taking the conscious in a like foggy part. So are you for this or not?
I think I think I do it sometimes by accident, as a matter of fact, not even intentionally.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's great. I mean, it's also a great way. There's a whole group of confusion inductions for instant inductions that you could do.
Right.
Expecting one thing, and especially for the person using confusion for the person who's having a hard time giving up control. You
Right.
know, then I think it really serves its purpose
Yes.
in
Yes.
helping.
Yes.
Um, so I think that's great.
Cheryl, thank you so much for your time. So we invite people on the 11th, 12th, and 13th.
Yep, and they can sign up now. Tickets are going, so you would go ahead and sign up at elmanhypnosis.com is our website, and the second tab says Elman Conference, and all the stuff is there. You can sign up, and the great thing is with 12 hours with 3 rooms, 3 days. That's a lot and there'll also be some panels. That's a lot of presentations. So we
Amazing.
have, if you, we have, it's all being recorded. And so there is a combo price with the recordings, um, that, uh,
This is an
changes
amazing
Friday
idea.
morning, it goes up Friday morning when you're at the conference. The ticket stays the same. But so if you're thinking of going, come be part of it
Let's
because
do it.
recordings afterwards are going to be almost the price you might as well have gone and
Right.
experience it. And I'm so glad you're going to be coming, Gabrielle. You're
Sure.
going to and bring your notepad because you're going to meet so many people that you're going
Yeah.
to want to put on your podcast.
And it will be interesting, to mention the music also with the hypnosis. So I don't know if you have like still a free room. I would love to share my skills because I've been experiencing for 15 years the music and the hypnosis. Uh,
And and if not,
Especially that Mr. Elman used the music, so it's very interesting to mention it. Yeah,
right. And if we don't, I mean, there is no free spot at this moment unless somebody can't make it. But there are also, and this might be something, there are two rooms there, that cafe and the social hall.
amazing.
So you might be able to do an activity in there
With
and
pleasure.
invite some people.
Yeah,
So, which would
with
be
pleasure.
great.
I will put all the information on that video, and maybe I will crop some photos, from your website
Absolutely.
if you are okay with that, so I
That's
can add them
fine.
on my video.
That's fine. And we look forward to meeting you there. It was
Sure.
just interesting because I'm going, who is this Gabrielle?
Thank you
um,
so much. Thank you
thank
so much, Cheryl, and
ah,
for your time. It's been a pleasure talking to you, and I'm honored.
thank
And I really send to the universe, like, so you can have like send good vibes for you to have more flags and being, in different countries all over this planet Earth,
yeah.
because it's an amazing technique.
Have not been to Lebanon, have not been to France. There's
Here we are here, and we're gonna make it. We're gonna do it
yep.
for
Thank you
sure.
so much.
Yes, we'll keep in touch.
Okay, thank
Ciao,
you.
ciao.
Ciao, ciao.